You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
It has been 628 days, but it looks like Matt Murray's about to step back on NHL ice and start a game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365, Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill. What's going on, Rosie? How are you, buddy?
Mercat. We'll see if we can get through warm-up this time. I guess we're not sitting there, so we'll be but no bad juju for Mercat, but it's kind of a little funny blast from the past. I can't believe he hasn't played in that long. It doesn't seem like it.
628 days. Just think about what's gone on in your life in that time span. But yeah, they just recalled Matt Murray, so it looks like he's on track to start this game in Buffalo against the Sabres. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION, NATION, all in uppercase. Today, by the way, our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show, hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world as we get set for another back-to-back this week. And they got 3 left before a mini 3-day holiday break here.
I know. We just played Buffalo too. So interesting one. Kind of a half of a home game here for the boys tonight. It is odd because a lot of times with the Leafs, you're traveling around, especially when you go to like snowbird states and cities and whatnot, and you get a pretty good roar for scoring when you're on the road, but none like Buffalo where it's more Leaf fans than it is Sabres fans, like considerably more. And it's an odd feeling. And I can't imagine it's good to be a Sabres fan in that building.
Man, that place is going to be buzzing tonight for a variety of reasons, not to mention the home team, quote unquote, the Buffalo Sabres, winless in 11 games. They're 0-8-3. They haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. So whoever is wearing a Sabres jersey in that building is going to be pissed off, to say the least. Then you got greased up Leafs fans. It's the holiday season. The majority of people took next week completely off. I think it's going to be a fun night. I don't know what I expect. Who knows? It could be your classic trap game, but I think that building's going to be buzzing tonight, Rosie.
Yeah, it is interesting with them being on that much of a skid and the Leafs having a pattern of not starting well. I mean, by all accounts, they should smash this team, but Buffalo's going to bust out of this at some point in time, and the Leafs have been the people that let people bust out of the slumps at times. We'll see. We will see. And then the Matt Murray angle, like, how's he going to look? What's going on between the pipes? So interesting narrative tonight. But, I mean, if Chiefs got them with anything but their heads completely screwed off, I think they should be able to handle this one.
That's fair. Look, I'll be honest, a little disappointed starting today's podcast. I got word late last night from you that you're not appearing on the Holiday Spirits episode for Barn Burner, which has been, I think, a positive for this podcast in the first couple years. Essentially, Barn Burner, those boys get together for their Holiday Spirits edition. They do the normal show, but they get dickered up, which is the funniest thing ever. And then they proceed to FaceTime me and try to get me on their show. But you've been a staple of that show for the first 2 years. And I think I'm happy you're not doing it, but I'm not sure. I enjoyed every second of it.
I know, just the logistics of it. I got family flying into town and just can't sit there and annihilate 12 drinks and then try to get my way back home. So it didn't work out this week, but it's kind of upsetting. I wish we would have done it like tonight or something where I could do it. I don't know, but disappointing, yes, but don't worry. We're going to be back. We're going to be back to that one.
That's good. Stronger than ever. And for those wondering what Barn Burner is, it's pretty much the Calgary equivalent of this show, Flames Nation. Barn Burner's their flagship show. It's incredible stuff. And if you want to watch 3 guys do their very best to try to get canceled in like a 3-hour span on the Holiday Spirits edition, make sure you tune in today. All I can remember, I think it was last year, you were like mocking, I guess they got like a big time Australian listener who like calls into their show frequently, and you were just mocking his accent. And when I heard that, I'm like, I got to get off. I have to get off before
I was talking about Warner's wife and who called in too. Someone called in and I was, it was wild. They're feeding you drinks like every 10 minutes and they're all these, it's like eggnog and rum, then this peppermint spice vodka drink, then this holiday beer. It just didn't stop. And I kind of should have known what I was getting into, but the guy who was like the bartender, who's a booze rep, is like a buddy of mine. I had no idea he was going to be there. So I had to wait for their original barn burner to show for like an hour and a half, and we're sitting there sipping on the supply. So I like pre-drank the drinking show, which is just I was time traveling blast off, and then my wife picked me up and she's like, "What are you right now?" It was a bit of a spicy mess.
I think the premise is really, really cool, albeit again, the drunker and drunker you get, who knows what comes out your mouth. And there were a couple of teetering episodes in the first couple of years, but make sure to check out the Holiday Spirits episode. And I'll be honest, I'm happy you're not on it, I think.
Really? Well, I appreciate that. It's safer for everyone, that's for sure. But I'll get sucked into it again. Don't worry.
A lot of people in the chat say you're saving it for Nashville. I respect that.
Hey,
I
yeah, that
respect
sounds
that.
good. That sounds good. I'll pin her up in Nashville. I'll put the throttle down. Don't worry.
Oh, buddy, we're all going to put the throttle down Thursday, March 20th to Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, the first ever TLN Nation Vacation live podcast, winery tours, taking in the Toronto Nashville game at Bridgestone Arena. This promises to be the trip of a lifetime. How about, by the way, if we watch that game, Luke Shen, because this is post deadline, Luke Shen returning to Nashville again as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Can you picture that, Rosie?
That'd be a narrative we didn't really draw up, but hey,
No.
anything is possible. Right-handed defenseman likes Toronto could maybe help out certain people in the back end. Crazier things have certainly happened in this league, but that'd be wild.
Couple guys in the back end right now puking themselves. Simone Benoit, Connor Timmins. There is a need for a guy who has won multiple Stanley Cups, who is a stay-at-home guy. On top of that, Morgan Riley, still doesn't have a partner. Perfect fit. Again, third time. And we're offering 2 packages for this trip, by the way. I know you want to get a word in here. One with flights, $24.50 plus tax. One without, $12.99 plus tax. Hotel rooms are double occupancy. Go ahead, Rosie.
I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but I have not even noticed Morgan Riley or him come across my radar in how long. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I know some defensemen, you're just not supposed to notice them, but he's kind of like my kid's got a poster on his wall of all these stud D-men, and he's one of them. It's like 5 in the NHL. You're going to pay, is your top 5 NHL defensemen? Like, not even close. Hey, I kind of need him to break out here and be a dude, but I haven't even noticed him in a while. Do you concur?
I concur. Great word, by the way. But it's funny you bring that up because we had John Shannon on yesterday's show, and he brought up a really elite point that in the Dallas game, if you were to find a list of top 3 defensemen and the amount of minutes, Morgan Riley wasn't on that list. It just shows you that they believe in a lot of their defensemen, right? It's not just a Riley special, which has been the theme in the last 10 years for this organization.
Well, for sure, and he's had too much weight on his shoulders. He's been an all-star, and that's great, but he's not a bona fide number one. I can carry the back end type of guy, and I was hoping, and it's worked out. The additions they've made on the back end have been nothing short of phenomenal with OEL and Tanev, and I'm a big fan of McCabe, and I actually like Benoit, even though, as you mentioned, he's kind of struggling a little bit lately and could clean things up, but I thought Morgan Riley would just quietly be this like little silent assassin back there where we're like, God damn, this is what he is supposed to be. This is the slot he's supposed to live in. And not that it hasn't been that, but you just mentioned his name and I was like, I haven't thought of Morgan Riley in a while. And that is a very odd thing for a guy of his, quote unquote caliber.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people perceive him maybe so much because of the money he makes as a number one defenseman, but I don't view him as like the most important piece in the back anymore. I think it's Chris Tanev, quite frankly. I think when you look at this blue line, you take Chris Tanev out of the equation, and I don't feel as good about the blue line.
Yeah, totally. He's pretty sung, but he's mostly unsung hero. I mean, he just makes that so much better. Every move he makes, every play. I just watch him I just watch him get time and space get taken away from him. And then I'm like, watch what he does. And he just makes the bloody play every single time. And I can't tell you as a former defenseman how difficult that is to do every single time and never panic and never make the wrong play and always know what your options are. He's phenomenal. And then, he's rugged. He's defensively liable, or he's defensively responsible, and his shot blocking ability is just unbelievable. And OEL's just as good as we could ask to. So yeah, it's just an observation is all that was. So maybe tonight he'll break out.
2 big words in the span of 3 minutes: concur and observation. You're on fire today. Who needs a Holiday Spirits episode?
Well, I don't have one of those fancy degrees behind me, but picked up a thing or two on my travels.
No, I really, really feel that right now. Certainly doing this episode. Jake McCabe deserves a shout out as well. We have a trailer to play, by the way, just to wrap our conversation on the Nation vacation. For more information on how to book, head on over to nationgear.ca or check out the link in our show bio. Life's too short for ordinary vacations. Kid you not, full eggplant emoji for Jay Rosehill watching that commercial. Yes, we have a graphics department, Rosie. That's huge.
Little, I like that little commercial. We'll handle the details. You bring the energy. I do dig that. I promise you, whoever's down there, whoever it is, there's gonna be some energy flying around. I dig it.
Vic just wrote the funniest thing in the chat that I can't repeat on the show, but
I'll repeat
damn,
it.
that's hilarious. No, don't. That made my Friday. That made my Friday. But yeah, Nation vacation, Nashville. You better come. By the way, a little disappointed with Tammy, noting that she also watches Barn Burner. She's a Flames Nation fan. You got to pick a side. Are you a Leafs fan? Are you a Flames fan? Do you like the Oilers? Tammy, we need you to pick a side in the next 35 minutes, quite frankly, of this show. And support us, Sick Kids. Make sure you get those super chats in at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. I see all of you in the chat, but I don't see the likes adding up to the amount of people in the chat. So if you could so please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. So one of two on the weekend, Friday, Saturday special. The Leafs into Buffalo, first and foremost. You've played in that little series down the QE. What's it like to play in Buffalo as a Toronto Maple Leaf, Rosie?
I'm still trying to figure out if Tammy is out in my neck of the woods. Why would she watch Barn Burner?
Okay, so she says, I like the Flames too, just not as much as the Leafs. That's like saying, I don't know. Fair enough. Okay, Tammy. Okay.
Are
We'll
you
let
from
it
out
slide.
west, Tammy? She's my neighbor, maybe. Who knows? This Tammy is a mysterious
Imagine it's like
woman.
just your wife's account, ghost account.
Every time my wife leaves the house, she's on fucking Tammy on this.
I knew it.
That would be
We're on it. We're crack staff on this show.
that'd be a hell of a play. No, Buffalo, it's in division, ups and downs with where they're at in the league and whatnot. Obviously not doing too well right now, but you jump on the bus and it's funny. Some of the guys back in the day I played, they would have to pay their bookies when we'd go down to Buffalo. So as we cross the line, it's can you hold 10 grand for me? Can you hold 10 grand for me? And guys are passing around 10 grand stacks for people to hold across the border. And probably not the most legal thing in the world, but that was the old school days before Bet365 when you had to have a
Never
bookie
ordinary.
down south. Too funny. But I remember that crossing the line on the bus, which felt like this is not the National League, is it? But made me chuckle. Other than that, like I said, it's like a home game. When we score, we'll go to like Phoenix or back in the day, Florida, not Tampa so much, but certain barns, and it's like we score, and it's like, oh, was that louder than when they did? Was that
Florida.
louder? And you can't quite
Panthers.
tell. Not
Yeah.
anymore, but Buffalo, completely different story. Like you score, it's like, whoa, we're like, oh, that was the home team scoring, and it was just simply not even close to as energetic when the Sabres scored, and it's in their own barn with their logo on the ice. It's kind of degrading, and it would piss me off if I had anything to do with that organization, but it is what it is.
Oh, and Sabres fans are so emotional. Again, the recipe for like a disaster in the crowd tonight, a Friday night, that the home team has been a pile of shit all season long. They haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. The Leafs in your building, they could embarrass you. It's just always fun. Like I've been to a couple games in Buffalo. It's got a different feel. For everything we talk about Scotiabank Arena, it's not the same atmosphere in Buffalo. And just the cherry on top is Matt Murray. If you're just tuning in, recalled from the American Hockey League, we think he's on track to start this game. No official confirmation, but it would make a lot of sense considering they played on Wednesday, considering what happened after a one-day rest last time where Anthony Stolarz got hurt, that it would be Murray tonight, then Joseph Woll at home against the New York Islanders on Saturday night.
Yeah, that would make sense. It'll be fun to see him get in between the pipes. His numbers in the American League are really good. And for some reason, I think of him as like a 35-year-old goalie. He's only 30 years old.
I know.
and very capable, this is why they signed him. It's going to turn out like, I mean, last year they had Martin Jones who came in, and that was a sneaky, nice little signing. They even had this caveat in his contract where I think you had to pay him 200 grand or something if he got sent down on waivers by this amount of time, which he did, and it kept him in the organization. Very slick little move by Tree Living, because he ended up needing to be recalled and saved their ass for a lot of games. And here's Matt Murray in the same position. So they've done well with covering their butts with having some depth at goaltending that doesn't cost them a lot. We'll see what happens, man. I expect him to be sharp and pretty damn good. I expect him to be a little scrambly here and there, and in the speed and timing of that game. He might playing catch up a little bit, but I just expect a pretty solid performance. And honestly, it's on those guys in the room, the players, to play well in front of him. This guy hasn't played in, what did you say, 600 days?
More than that, 628.
Good Lord. Does not that, like, what happened? It seems like he was just here last year. I don't know, but interesting thing to watch with him. I would put money down right now that he's going to play. He's on his way. I think he just got a shutout a couple of nights ago in Wilkes-Barre against his former team, and by all accounts, he's in really good form.
Wow. You're on fire on today's pod. I won't lie. David Owens, thank you so much for the super chat and support of Sick Kids. Hey, guys, first time catching you live. Hi, David. We're not drunk, so that's a pass on today's show.
Hey, boy. Thanks, buddy. First time
Won my
listener.
McMahon goal bet the other night. Thanks to you. So dropping some of the winnings to Sick Kids here. Appreciate that, dude. We were on fire on the show the other day. We called it McMahon goal. And then Zach Phillips came over the top rope with the Robertson goal call, the Nylander goal call. It's been a hot stretch for us here on the show, bud.
The kid's hot. It's kid's hot. I, on the other hand, went heavy on the New Jersey Devils yesterday against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they got, I don't know what the ending score is. I checked my app and I'm like, oh yeah, how'd that first period go with New Jersey? They cranked them, didn't they? 3-rip. I'm just like, I'm such a loser. How do I not understand anything about this game? And I think I just need to tail Zach Phillips for the rest of the year, because I can't make my own decisions.
So I had the over 6.5 in that Devils Columbus game, and I will tell you, Elvis Merzlikins was out of this world, and that always happens. I'll take the over in a game. This guy made, I don't know if you saw this, but 19 of the 42 saves he made, something like this in the game, were on the Hughes brothers. Luke Hughes and Jack Hughes had 13 shots on goal in the game, but we're talking about like 10 bell stops, dude. So
Really?
I was right there with you. I didn't pick a side, but I had the over 6.5. It fell at a 4-2 game, but Merzlikins was out of this world, and sometimes it just happens in hockey, I think.
Sometimes you get goaltendered. It happens. It happens. I will move on. But I don't know. I just feel like when I take a swing, it's always the wrong time. And then when I'm like, maybe I should do that, and then I forget to put it in, it just went like clockwork, and I would have won a 3-leg parlay. And I'm just whining and bitching about my my betting account right now, because it's not as flush as I would like it to be.
Fair enough. And word of advice too, I think the biggest mistake I make when I bet is not trusting myself. Like, for example, you reached out yesterday seeking guidance, and that's when you lose. So when you're like, hey, so-and-so, who do you like tonight? You lose that. And then you make the person feel like crap. And it's like just a bad reel of emotions, I feel.
Oh, giving advice is the worst,
Yeah.
because you give it out there, and then you're more nervous than if it's your own bet, because you're like, this guy's gonna be so pissed at me if this is what I'm like, get your own. Maybe that's why Zach doesn't give me too much, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, took a swing and missed. Tonight's a different story when we get to our Bet365 bet segment part of the show of the day. Finish. What's it called again?
You want to get that out? Last call, man. It's like the
Last
call,
call, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready for that one today.
I named that myself. Last call at the bar, last call on the show.
Oh, genius. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Genius.
In support of Sick Kids, Mike Kahn, thank you so much for the super chat. Here's a couple bucks for Sick Kids. Love the show. Get to spend Monday to Friday lunch breaks walking the dog / horses and hanging out with Leafs Nation. This guy's got to be out west. We don't walk horses here in Toronto. What could be better? Happy holidays, Nick, Rosie, and the rest of the Leafs Nation. Thank
Walking the ponies. Good for you. Sounds like a nice lunch break. Doesn't sound like you're downtown by any stretch. Good for you. Good man taking care of those animals. But thanks for listening. I love all these new listeners who are just learning what we are all about around here.
Can you just teach me about like a ranch or something? Like I believe this guy's got to be on a ranch. Like, what's the point of walking a horse? Don't they walk themselves?
Yeah, I don't know why he's walking horses. He's probably feeding the horses, walking the dogs is what he's doing. But if you came to my ranch, you'd get bucked. It's not my family ranch, but you'd get bucked off in a hurry. It'd make me laugh. These townies come in from Olds just a mile out, and they get bucked off. Your townie ass from out east, downtown Toronto. Oh boy, you'd struggle a little
Dude,
bit.
I have no clue what you just said in the last like 15 seconds.
Exactly, exactly.
All I heard is I live in buttfuck nowhere, and
Well,
you couldn't hack it here.
I never said butt fuck nowhere. The center
Now
of the
you did.
universe, as we all know, but it's a little
Toronto,
different.
we're in the Mecca here, buddy. We don't walk horses in Toronto.
I know. The cops ride them. One time a cop tried to
They
get
do.
me on a cop horse down King Street because I didn't have my seatbelt on. It was this lady cop on a horse, and she points at me and tries to spin around. It's like heavy traffic, and I start dangling through the LRT lane or the bus lane, or what the hell's the
Dude,
tram lane?
the TTC. You want to
Yeah,
talk about the biggest waste of taxpayer money? They're there for crowd control. These things take fucking huge ass dumps. Like I live right near where they have these horses. They take
I like
huge ass dumps on the street. It stinks like crap, and they just walk around. Like I don't
neat.
understand it. Maybe you understand it a bit more.
It's cool and it's neat, and yeah, I'm surprised they do it because it's messy, it's expensive, it's a pain in the ass. You got to have dually diesel trucks and stock trailers to pull them in. You got to have tack, and you got to have people that know how to ride, and these things can act up, and they need to be fed, and they need. It's nuts that they do it, but I think it's very cool that they do because it's very old school and make more sense to have one of those Harley cop bikes. But
Yeah.
instead of a steel horse, they go with the real horses, and I think that's cool.
Do you get paid more? Do you think if you're the horse person, like you're riding the horse?
I would doubt it. I would doubt it. I would doubt
Probably
it.
less.
I don't know about the specialties in the Ontario Police or Toronto Police Department.
It's just like the most bewildering thing. And maybe it's just in my area, but I always wonder too, like who cleans up the shit? I don't think it's the cop.
Don't they have a little bag behind them that picks up that shit as they
Dude,
drop
have
it,
you
like the
seen the
catches
size
it?
of horse shit? You've seen the size of horse shit.
You know what a road apple is?
I have no clue what a road apple is.
It's a dried up piece of horse shit, and people use it for street hockey.
You're kidding me.
Oh yeah, that's the puck.
It's the most disgusting thing I ever heard in my life.
Not really. It's just rolled up grass and hay.
And they use it as a puck because they can't afford a puck. They don't won't buy a puck.
I don't know. It's just sitting on the street. Might as well rip it out of tendy while you're waiting for something.
That's unique. That
Thanks,
is
buddy.
very, very unique stuff. But
Hey,
I guess
your city, not mine.
fair enough. But again, if anybody has an answer to that, who scoops up the horse shit? The cops riding around the city on horses. Is it the cops or is it somebody else? Like, is there a different department for that type of venture?
Let's put it out there on the wire. We'll get an answer eventually.
City picks it up with your tax dollars. AK writes that in. Probably. Again, I just think there's better ways to use the city's money, like maybe fix the potholes on the streets. But we got cops riding around in horses for some reason. You think they're listening to Leafs Morning Take while they ride the horse?
I hope so. Not now that we went on this horse tangent.
Yeah, I know. We've lost a complete crowd now, the horse riding crowd. But anyways, Matt Murray, talk about horses. There was a point in time he was a horse in his career. Two-time Stanley Cup champion with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know there's a lot of speculation that maybe the run and gun Maple Leafs are going to return. I think the opposite. I think Matt Murray is like a perfect systems goalie. I honestly feel that way. And I think, at the best of his time, he's in a rocking chair, very similar to like a Joseph Woll or an Anthony Stolarz. And you mentioned it. I mean, the confidence has got to be there. He came in relief over last weekend. I think he was perfect in that effort. Got the shutout a couple days ago. So I expect Matt Murray to be Matt Murray, not in his prime, but a guy who's a serviceable NHL goalie. Like we speculated about this earlier on this week that it made too much sense to pass up on the idea of recalling Matt Murray. Like you have him there for insurance purposes for moments like this one, right? Like it wouldn't have made sense if they didn't call him up, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of what he's for. And you got to remember, Matt Murray was and is a good goaltender. I mean, especially in this, we're tickled pink that we have him in this situation. Maybe he wasn't our number one guy. His problem was staying healthy. He could never stay healthy. And was he the guy to get this team to the promised land 2 years ago? No, fine. He wasn't. That doesn't mean he's a bummer. He's garbage. And I think you're seeing that with the reaction to him being called up right now. As producer Vic was like, man, there's a lot of positivity around Matt Murray potentially playing here tonight, where, he was here. He didn't get the job done. He was kind of hurt quite a bit. you'd think people would be like, what the hell is this guy coming out? You know, the market and what they do and how negative they can be, us included. But it seems overwhelmingly positive. And I think that's because when he has played for this team and been healthy, he has been a damn good goalie. And he has been a damn good goalie this year as well in the American League for the Marlies. And I expect him to pick up on that tonight.
Hey, you want to talk about a con job? When Kyle Dubas picked up Matt Murray from the Ottawa Senators, they were trying to sell that this guy's going to have them win a Stanley. Like they're going to win a Stanley Cup with Matt Murray. And boy, oh boy, were they wrong because this guy can't stay healthy. That's my biggest wish for this game. Just get through a hockey game, Rosie. How many episodes have we seen with Matt Murray in his career? Like that, I'm just fingers crossed anytime this guy plays. And it scares me even more knowing the guy behind him. Like you got a pairing of these guys now.
Him and Woolsey, yeah,
Yeah.
what? I know both of
It's a
them
bigger
have
issue, though. I brought this up with Huts yesterday. Goalies, man. There's
got a
always
big
something.
tendency, man. I'd like to crunch the numbers. It just seems like Leafs land. It's it's been bad for a few years with the injuries, especially in the goaltender position. I wonder if that's because we're that close to it, or does everyone go through it? It doesn't seem like it. It seems like Swayman and Allmark, weren't they just always healthy, just switch hitting each
I
other?
know.
It seemed
Yeah.
like, but we can't even get through. We can't get to Christmas without having two significant goalie injuries on our star goalies, and now we're bringing in another goalie that has a history of being hurt all the time. I mean, yeah, it seems like we have some bad luck in that department, but maybe it's all about to change tonight.
Nice little tee up there. Also, Zach Phillips in the chat right now. Make sure to check out the Leafs Nation After Dark tonight and tomorrow night. It's such a Nylander anytime goal plus 145 on show sponsor Bet365. The only place you should be betting type of night.
Look at
Well done,
Zachy
Zach.
plugging the stuff in the chat. That a boy, this kid
He
grinds
wants a light. He wants a light like that. That's
like
why.
that 365. Yeah, where did that come from? That is fancy.
You got to know people in high places over at Bet365, and they supply you with a light. But it's
When you,
sick. I won't lie.
when you donate as much money with bad bets as you have,
Yeah.
they send you one of those.
I told my buddy there, I'm like, hey, I donate so much money to you guys. You think you could just give me something for my background for all the donations I've made?
And they looked at your history and said, "Good Lord, get this guy a backlight."
I was feeling so great last night. Capo Caco, I'm like, anytime goal. The guy rung one off the bar like 8 minutes in. I'm like, this can't miss. And then he didn't score. So I was disappointed with that one.
It happens. I don't often go to the goal scoring well. I usually like to take like the who's going to start well, who's going to dominate the first period. Is it going to end in regulation? Could this one? Last year I had a lot of good success taking the
Yeah.
ties. Right, the tie. It's usually plus
Yeah.
300 to 350, and I mean all you got to do is get to overtime where two evenly matched teams that play good defense. I've been hitting those a little bit, but picking who's going to score out of, I just seem to swing and miss on those ones, or the value
Yeah.
is garbage. What
Those are
value for?
tough. Those are tough. I got the DeBrincat one the other night. Zach writes in again. I got Nick a Christmas gift. Any guesses on what it is? Oh God. How about a
Somebody
beer league goal? Zach's coming out on
beautiful.
Sunday to my beer league game.
I'd like to see Zachy skate. I saw you
Dude, he's
skate at
sick.
pond hockey last year.
Yeah, the hockey's not my thing, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You love it. You love it just because
No,
you're
I'm a
not.
baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that is true. You didn't talk about your softball league this year very much in the off season, though.
Well, I played co-ed, man. Co-ed's a joke. They self-pitch to you. If I don't hit a bomb, I shouldn't be playing. And then my men's league, I missed a lot of the season. I was in Europe for a while, so that's why. But I had a good year. Actually, it was a really good year.
Here we go. I had to open a can of worms. All
You
right,
did.
save it. Save it.
Yeah, but Zach is coming out to my beer league game on Sunday. I did tell him. I forgot to tell you. Remember, I told you I was on like the biggest slump. I was on a Nick Robertson slump, a Max Domi slump. 14 games without a goal. I tucked last week. Oh no, my lights went out. Got to give me a second
Cool.
here.
Now we're really 365 in that.
Woo! Okay,
that
give me a
light.
second.
Oh,
Keep
now you
the show
ISO
afloat.
cam you. He looks cool. He looks like he's in a dungeon basement style. All right, now I'm holding the phone here. What are we gonna, Vicky? Let's get Vicky hot on the mic. Has anyone heard of Vic ever? Have you ever spoken on the stream, Vic? I don't think we've ever heard. I don't even know if you have the capabilities of speaking, but Nikki's gonna get his lights figured out here. It's been how long? We should have a little countdown since our last technical error on this show. It's been a long time. We were struggling there. Maybe what was that, a month and a half ago? No, he unplugged his speakers too, apparently.
That is the unpredictability of being live on YouTube. Yeah. Wasn't charging.
It's supposed to be
Oops.
plugged in. You should have that button right next to
No,
the
if
desk.
you have it
No,
plugged in, then it sucks the
amateur
battery out
hour.
of it. No, if you have the battery plugged in full time, it sucks the battery out of it.
Shouldn't have a battery. You should have a light plugged in at your studio that you do a show at every single day.
No, but
Talking about
it's got a
batteries.
charging mechanism on it.
I'm pissed off now, Nick. These
Hey,
new
for
listeners are like,
people,
"What's
why are you
going on?"
blaming producer Vic? Stop blaming producer Vic in the chat. This
I
is on
didn't.
you.
I tried to bring him on the show,
Oh,
but he
I missed
couldn't.
that. Sorry. You know the
Is
headphone
he?
situation too. I had to
I
take them
doubt he's
off.
able to talk on the show. Hey, being the host.
Why? We got to get Vic on one day. But I
I
think
know.
we got to build up this allure that nobody knows what Vic looks like, and then gradually work him into the show.
Sexy, sexy. I like that too.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Leafs Want to Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. So again, as mentioned, Matt Murray poised to make his season debut, his first game since April 2nd, 2023. The Leafs have won 3 in a row against the Buffalo Sabres. They beat them back on Sunday. Toronto 6-2 on the road. By the way, Murray's numbers so far this year, 4-1-2, 1.85, 9.31, 1 shutout. And the Maple Leafs have won 7 of 10 games with Austin Matthews back in the lineup. I was going to ask you too. We talked about this on yesterday's show. The big three playing together. That was quite the roller coaster in the first full game.
Yeah, it totally was. Nightmare start, if you ask me. Like he plays a funny thing, like so Chief puts him out third, rolls him third. I'm watching. I'm like, okay, they don't start the game. That's a little message like, hey, this isn't a big your show circus thing. You're not going out to start that thing. Second rolls out. All they're going third out. So then maybe a little bit of line matching on the road there, but it wasn't on the road. It was on whatever.
In
And they
Dallas.
go out
Yeah.
and turnover show. Missed assignments. How about that first goal, Matthews? Like Matthews looked not good defensively.
So what was your breakdown of that? Do you think he thought there was a defenseman there and he wasn't the last guy back?
So the guy goes across the Leafs blue line, and then he's kind of chasing the puck or trying to gather it, and he kind of sucks up against the boards. And the D did a bad change. Or got caught on a bad change. I don't even know who turned it over. Probably Willie or something. And they go the other way. And I think that Matthews thought that the D were going to be there, so he didn't bust his ass to the middle. But regardless, he followed him like he's playing choo-choo train, like up against the half wall, and then let him get the middle ice, and then followed him to the net. And then he buries. Like, what the hell was that? You take the shortest route to the net and you cut it off. And if the guy has to, gather the puck or go a little bit wide, you cut him off and you gain ice on him. He just decided not to and just stayed right behind his ass like a train. It was so odd because he could have absolutely cut him off and had a way better piece and a better stick on him. Let's watch this one. So what the hell are the D doing? Austin's just like,
I know.
Look at this. I'll follow you right. What are you doing, dude? That's wild. I just sometimes am flabbergasted by players who are so incredibly talented, hockey players, and then sometimes defensively, it's like, have you ever played hockey before? It's a little bit funny, and he had at least 2 of those that night. But you know what it is with that line? You give them one look, one chance, one piece of ice that is not covered, and pop, make a play back of your net. That's exactly what it was. Matthews to Willie. It's here we go. Oh, look at him. He just follows him. Like, what the fuck was that?
Body was in Dallas, mind was in Munich, I think there.
Oh, I wonder what's in Munich that he likes so much.
Not
Yeah,
much,
anyway,
actually.
they figured it out and buried and then definitely cleaned it up in the second. It was even more than the second half of the game, but they were forechecking and peppering and stuff. So we'll see how long they stay together. It'll be interesting, but it's just funny. Like, wouldn't you just considering the whole freaking city is buzzing over putting these guys together? Everyone's tuning in to see what is this superpower of a line going to do? Chief is staring you in the eye saying, listen, Damios, if you don't play sound structured hockey, this isn't the circus coming town. We're not calling you the Ringling Brothers line. This isn't street hockey. You got to play the system, but we're putting you together because you're deadly and see what we can do. How do they start the game? Whoop-de-doo-de-doo, bop, fucking circuses in town. Like, what? Wouldn't you they just definitely double down on doing it right? But they don't. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just their confidence level of how good they are. I'm not sure, but it was not the way I thought it was going to go with starting. But Chief kept them together. They sorted it out. They got the goal that they were expected to get, and they cleaned it up after that. So we'll see what happens tonight.
My counter to that, have you not watched this power play for the last 7 years? And these guys play together on the power play. I don't know if you know that, but they play together on the power play. I wasn't stunned whatsoever. Just very country club, no urgency, just ho-hum out there, loop-de-loop. And that's what happens in the National League. It doesn't matter who you play, you're going to get ran through the boards. And that's what I felt happened. But to your point, they need that one opportunity. Nylander scores, and you feel a bit better about them. But a combined -4 for Marner and Matthews in that game.
Oh, I didn't know that, dude. You need to be a net positive. -4. I thought it would be like -1 or 2.
Both
Um,
were -2.
gotcha. Yeah, that's terrible. It's not good enough. You need to, if you're gonna play together, like you have, I know, like you can't be 100% offensively minded. Like you got to have like even, I mean, it's, you should be 50-50, but a player of that caliber, you expect them to go up to like 75% thinking offense maybe, but they're not even doing that. Like you got to at least put 25% of your attention and effort and energy into the defensive side of things. No one's, you're not doing anyone favors if you're -2 every night, but you get your one goal. You got to be a little tighter than that. And you got to have a little bit more responsibility and be more of a leader than that, which all three of those guys should be. So I would think that Berube, like he's mentioned already, that he's like, I'm not wanting these guys to go be the circus, which I do not think Sheldon Keefe hardly ever said to them, which was one of his downfalls, if you ask me, is the accountability that he laid on this team. But Chief, I don't know if they keep, no, they're playing fine. There's no reason to say anything. But if they keep doing that, like, what are the consequences? And like, is he going to call them out or like kick a garbage can or be like, listen, I'm still the goddamn coach. You're still the player. You have to play this bloody way. I don't care. Like that's the way they started that last game's kind of unacceptable, if you ask me. And it's a commitment thing that they just decide not to do. So we'll see again tonight how it goes. I would assume they'll start a little bit more soundly, but we'll see.
At the Leafs Nation 401, make sure you pound that subscribe button, that like button. Rosie, again, we've been discussing this for 10 years. You think there's just going to be a switch that's flipped with these guys when they play together? I give up. I don't know.
Yeah, there should be a switch that frickin' flips. We have a chance to do something special right now. We're playing so damn well. We're so good. We're trying something. Let's make it as good as possible. There's more to playing well than just scoring the one highlight reel goal. You still can score the highlight reel goal if you just don't act like a mutant moron on the back end of things. Like you have to take like there's times where all three of them are below like the hash marks, and it's like, oh shit, was someone supposed to be the high guy? There's times where McCabe's like pinching down the wall, and the guy that should clearly cover him pinches down with him, and it goes the other way. Like these odd man Russians and stuff, they can't happen, dude, or you cannot
Yeah.
play together. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. But it's kind of a shame because it's a nice little experiment, and maybe we'll be proven wrong tonight again. Like I said,
We've got pardon me?
I still have faith. I still think that they can do it, and you're just long gone. Ship has sailed on that.
Well, I
Baby.
don't know. I've seen the same episode, Song and Dance, too many times. We got an Oilers troll in the chat saying, Zach Hyman owns you, Oilers own you. But then I look, November 16th, the game I was at, a 4-3 OT victory for the Maple Leafs where they came from behind. The Oilers can't get a save. Ryan Reaves knocked Darnell Nurse into 2022, I think, in that game too. But again, I don't know. The last time I checked, Oilers fans haven't really accomplished much in recent memory. They got to a cup final. Florida's like, you know what? TV ratings, part of this business. Let's get to game 7.
Are they still the favorite to win the cup, the Oilers, man? Like that blew my mind from the get-go. I'm like, you lost 2 important pieces. Why would you expect Skinner to play that good again and be that
Dude,
defensively?
did you watch that game against Florida the other day?
No.
They needed one save and they couldn't get it. I kid you not.
Oh,
Sam Reinhart scored from
always.
the corner. I think he was hanging out with like the guy in the staff in the section there, and he still scored. Like you can't get a save. You're not winning a cup. I know the Oilers got close. McDavid was incredible. Draisaitl was great. Their depth scoring awesome. You're done.
They got ridiculously close.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
it's
wouldn't say ridiculously close. They were beating game 7. They were down 3-0. But
it's hats off to them for how close they got. I just don't understand why you expect that that's going to happen again with what's going on there with your $9 million liability on the back end, and you get a goalie that is extremely inconsistent. And honestly, I really feel like I'm not saying luck, but the stars absolutely aligned for the Oilers last year, and it was an incredible journey, and they got very close and got beat by a better team. But I'm trying to put fat money on the fact that they will not come close to doing it again. I guess we'll see. But it's funny. What are you sniffing out the Leafs morning take for, Mr. Oilers fan?
Penny, he says, "Hey guys, just wondering how you feel when the Oilers make the Cup Finals again, and the Leafs will stay in that 1960s run." You sound like the Blue Jays, the runner-up. We're celebrating being the runner-up in the Stanley Cup Final. I can't remember the teams that lose in the Cup Final. I only remember the team that wins. But I will mention, I heard something funny the other day. I hope Zach Hyman actually gets on a Team Canada via injury, because it would be the past, present, and future Toronto Maple Leaf line. You have the past in Zach Hyman, you have the present in Mitch Marner, and you have the future in Connor McDavid.
Imagine. Not anymore that Leonidas has signed, I don't think. Can you even imagine the rupture in the hockey world that would cause if he just goes peace and goes to Toronto?
Hey, man, as a Torontonian, you go to Edmonton, it's a culture shock, we'll say. Okay? That's all I'll say.
Well, it ain't Calgary. It ain't Calgary, I can tell you that. But
it is not.
I admit I was cheering for the Oilers last year, man. I was hoping they did it, but they didn't, did they?
I'm just messing. One of my boys, you all know this is on the Oilers. I hope good things for him. But again, it's a friendly rivalry, the Leafs and the Oilers. The McMahon, Domi, Robertson trio has been a nice story. Granted, just a couple games here, Rosie, but 3 goals, 1 assist in that win against Dallas. How you feeling about that third line right now?
Oh, I feel damn good about that third line right now. It's a third line that you cross your fingers and hope you can find when you put a team together. It's guys that aren't, you're not wasting a ton of cap space there. You don't have to put one of your superstar, all-star world beaters on there to make it tick. It's 3 guys that can all play. They should all play, like they all work their nuts off. Domi works super hard. Robertson works super hard. McMahon works hard. They all have enough skill to finish a play if it gets on their stick and they need to bury and capitalize. They can all do that. And, Domi has a little bit of muck and grind in him. I think Robertson needs to adopt a little bit more of that. Like, that's the writing's on the wall, buddy. You're not a first 2-line guy. You're not a top 6 guy in the NHL. You've been given years of opportunity and you just can't seem to harness it. So here's here's a really good chance for you to cement out a place in the NHL with playing with this line where you're clicking and you have some chemistry. I love it. I hope it continues. And that is the type of line that gets you deep in the playoffs, man. Just look at the teams that do it. They all have a line like that.
Yeah, and when the Leafs come at you in waves, they're a very, very difficult team, especially if you can get a bit of contributions, maybe from that fourth line, the third line specifically, then the top 2 lines, you're in business for sure. My major takeaway from John Tavares as a Maple Leaf, the Leafs really struggle against the Islanders. That's the second game with a back-to-back. We assume it's going to be Joseph Woll. His last 10 games, 8-2-0, 2.17, 9.25, 1 shutout. He's been fantastic. The Islanders have been off since Tuesday. They don't play until this game coming up on Saturday. But did you know Toronto has dropped 4 straight and 5 of 6 against the Islanders, Rosie?
Yeah, I didn't really know that. I saw that in the pre-sheet, but it's kind of surprising. They can't seem to get a W for their former captain, but their home record this year is considerably better. I think that very well this could be the time they do it. What surprises me is their road record. They are a 500 hockey club, damn near leading the East on the road. Like, that needs to change. You guys got to figure it out with the not having the last change, with not being in your home barn, with coming from the hotel, with eating the pregame meal from the hotel, whatever it is that it's bugging you. A 500 hockey club on the road, that needs to change.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's a role reversal from last year specifically, where they're really good on the road and terrible on home ice. And
remember, Sammy couldn't lose.
Yeah,
was it on the road, or maybe that was something like that. But yeah, I remember that it was a total flip flop.
that guy's total diarrhea, Ilya Samsonov. I really want to get behind the guy, but he just can't get cooking, man. It's tough. Is there something in your teeth? You okay?
Nah, I got dry lips. It's dry air out here. Wintertime, man. I got to lotion up, lube up. Sit in the bathtub of Lubriderm.
I haven't looked outside yet. It's 11:44 a.m. I guess it snowed yesterday in Toronto, and there's a lot of conversation about that. But it's like a dusting. It's a dusting, a sprinkle of snow.
Welcome to winter. That's good to have for Christmas, though. Temps are going up. True. We're like +5 this week, man, and it's going to be Christmas, and we got lots of snow. So what can you need out?
Yeah, I don't know about you. Like, it doesn't feel like Christmas. And maybe watching the first World Junior pre-tournament game last night, you start to get that feel. You hear that like the World Junior music, and you start to get your blood flowing. You're like, let's do it. But
That's
I don't know,
Christmas.
man. Like even I've been lethargic on getting gifts, and like I'm way behind right now. I got like a week left, less than that.
I think because we got a big fat dump of snow and like winter came hot and like every roof peak has, 8 inches of snow on it. Everyone's got their lights up. Christmas tunes are in all the in the stores and stuff like that. It is definitely feeling like Christmas for me, and I really like Christmas, so I dig that. But I was just in Austin, Texas, and
Mhm.
I didn't really appreciate the fact when I was a kid growing up. I just thought, you watch movies and Home Alone, and Christmas is just Christmas. I thought Christmas was Christmas everywhere, but you go down to like Texas, and it's like it's not even close. I know it doesn't snow there or whatever, but it like barely, like it doesn't feel like Christmas at all. And I kind of take for granted that the whole world doesn't have winter like we do. I didn't realize that when I was young, but it's much more special up here in Canada, and maybe even more so out where it tends to snow more. Like Toronto doesn't even have snow, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
I like Christmas, and I like to do it up the winter style. My brother's going to Australia for winter, and I'm like, you're a
Wow.
moron. You can do that any time of the year. Why would you do it during one of the better times of our long, long winter?
I rather be in the heat, so I'm gonna stick with Tyler in
We'll
this
go in the new
conversation.
year then.
Ty's got my vote here. Okay.
You entire buddies, aren't you?
We are Warrior Womp writes in Cowan Hattie, good times. I can just officially say on this show, we may or may not have Easton Cowan on this show on Monday. So good timing on that front.
Yeah, and we might pre-record it today as well and ruin my
The
afternoon that
the
I have
amount of
coming.
pushback from these two squids about trying to interview Easton Cow. I get it. It's Friday before the holidays at like 4 o'clock, but we're doing it. We got to do it. It's Easton Cowan. It's Cowboy Man.
I'm pumped for Cowan. I just rolled
Yeah.
my eyes that you had to do it this afternoon. I'm like, working around the kid's schedule. He's kind of got a little bit
Sorry,
Hollywood. I
buddy.
was just kidding. Hey, it's a wicked pull. I want to get this kid's just see his demeanor and whatnot and see what he's talking like. He's a bloody stud, man. Like what point streak is he on right now in the
56
CHL?
games in a row in the regular season. He's recorded a point. I had to look back all the way to November 2023, the last time he didn't.
That's ridiculous talent, dude. He's going to be a force in this organization, and he is a bright, bright, bright star. And I hope he continues to develop and become a stud. And we're going to pick his brain about it coming on Monday.
Hey, question. Do you want to get to take it or leave it first, or we have a super chat? You pick first.
Super chat.
All right, in support of Sick Kids, Michael Dix. I hope that is your full name. Michael Dix sends us a super chat. Do you
I
guys
can't.
think Stamkos could be sent to the Leafs?
Oh. He makes too much money, does he not?
Well, there's a lot of people in the chat, like some guy. I don't know if he was kidding. Hopefully, he was kidding. He's like, trade Robertson for Stamkos. Well, I'm like, are the Leafs
Lord.
playing under another cap that I don't know about?
That's the toughest thing to talk to people about trades is they're just like, we'll give this piece of garbage for like a perennial superstar. What? I would do that. Well, no shit, but nobody else would. I don't know what's going to happen in Nashville, but they need a shakeup. I don't know if it's Ryan O'Reilly. I don't know if it's Shanner. I don't know Stammer. I don't think they're going to move Stammer, man. That would what's he make? Like
I think it's
six,
8. I think he got 8 times
eight,
4, didn't he? Yeah.
8 times 4. Nah. Yeah, he's not. He ain't coming here. We can't fit him. No way, no how could we fit him. I don't think he would mind coming and play to Toronto though.
Full disclaimer, Michael Dix, that's my full name, Nikki. What an absolute stud. Imagine riding around high school with a name like that, Michael Dix.
Yeah, it's a good name. I would rock it
Sick.
proudly. Good job, Mikey.
Incredible. Great stuff. We love you, Michael. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just on Stamkos, I don't see it first and foremost. He had his opportunity to be a Leaf. He didn't want to come. He stayed in Tampa. I think that ship has sailed. On top of that, Barry Trotz was quoted yesterday that he's not going anywhere, at least this year. I think he's more likely if Stamkos opens up, maybe Broadway, something like that. But he's got a full no trade, so he determines everything. I just don't see it as a fit. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, either funny to think about what he'd look like in that taking that 1T over there on the peep or.
Well, we've seen like Photoshop jerseys. If you
I know.
recall, a couple of years ago, they had a sit down with him, the whole Canadian Tire BS, and yeah, he wanted no part of it. So I've moved on.
Moving on without Stammer, I guess.
We are. Let's move on to take it or leave it. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Take it or leave it. Matt Murray will not play another game for the Toronto Marlies this season. Take it or leave it, Rosie.
Oh, you got to pay attention to the wording of these bad boys. Will not play another game for the Marlies. I will leaf that because they're going to get healthy. He's going to go down. I understand the caveat of will they just hold him? He only makes 800 and some grand. Will they just hold him? I think it's going to come down to cap implications. What happens at the trade deadline? I think they're going to have to move him down when we got two healthy goaltenders and we've had a good string of games switch hitting these guys without injuries. I know you don't want to lose them on waivers, but I think there's going to come a time where you got to send them back down.
I'm going to go with take it more so because I think Matt Murray is going to be really good or he's going to get hurt and be on IR. I'm hoping it's really good. And then they have a decision to make when Stolarz comes back and he's put on waivers and it's the Maple Leafs and like Dakota Mermis got claimed off waivers last week. Like the teams just love claiming Toronto Maple Leafs. So I'm going to take it.
All right, fair enough. Agree to disagree. That's what take it or leaf it's all about.
Very well said. Number 2, the big 3 will get at least 5 games together as a line. Take it or leaf it.
So they've already had one. Tonight's 2. I don't think they get to 5. No, I just don't think it. Who do we have tomorrow again?
Islanders.
Fucking Isle. Yeah, I don't know, man. I could just see them licking their chops at this Buffalo game tonight and acting like morons out there and having a trap game and losing the damn thing. It's not likely, but it's very possible. I don't think they last 5 games. I think they break it up at some point in time, and I can't pinpoint where or why, but 5 games, I don't think they last.
A lot of take it's in the chat for this one, by the way. A bit stunned
Yeah.
at that, but I'm leafing it as well. I put a grain of salt over every line combination. I sort of been chuckling because that was your biggest gripe with Sheldon Keefe is jumbling up the lines. We've seen everything now, and we're at game 35 or whatever it is of the season, and now we're seeing the big 3 play together.
You
They
know what
don't work
holds
on the. Pardon me.
You know what holds it together though is that third line being as damn good as they
True.
are, and then those second, I mean Tavares and Nyes and stuff like and Patches is like kind of a trucking guys lately.
Yeah.
It kind of allows it to be left alone. And if they're not dashed 2 every bloody night and starting like turnover machines, they could make it. I just think with the way it goes, it'll just get dismantled at some time. But when you look down
Yeah.
the roster with that third line kind of being that supporting structure, playing as well as they do, they kind of keep everyone where they are. So maybe it's possible, but I'm still leafing it.
Again, I've seen enough from that power play to suggest it's just not going to work.
Power play is different.
It's the same thing. They're a combination. They're passing the puck back and forth. They're doing their loop-de crap. I don't know. I think there's better combinations. And on top of that, I don't like the balance. Like, I'm not sure at this juncture in his career, John Tavares can drive an entire line. And maybe Matthew Nyes being there helps. Again, a lot of this is contingent on the third line. You're right. If these guys continue to cook, I think it helps in a big way. Number 3, Pontus Holmberg has played his final game as a Leaf. Take it or leave it, Rosie.
Pontus, hello Pontus.
Okay.
I
All right.
think I will leaf that. I think he'll get back in. It reminds me of Hampu. I played with Hampus Lindholm, and he was like 19 years old, or maybe he was 20. You got to be 20 to play in the American League, and we were like Hampus, hello Hampus, and he was a sweet little kid. And we're like Hampus, and now
I thought you were doing Augustus Gloop from Willy Wonka, man.
No,
that was the feel there.
Pontus. Same thing, Augustus. I think he'll
Augustus
get
Gloop,
another game, not because we need to, but look, we're not even at the halfway point in the season, and look at the shit show we've had with injuries and people and personnel moving around. I think that's going to continue to happen, and I think he's going to slide his way back in. He's good enough to be that filler guy. I just don't think he's good enough to be a full-time member on this roster. So I think we will see Pontus again. Hello, Pontus.
Can you do your Emilio?
Emilio like Estevez?
No, you know your guy in the chat. You're like, Emilio. You know.
Oh yeah, Emilio. Yeah, that's from Night of the Roxbury. Shit, you might be.
I haven't seen that guy in the chat recently. If you're in there right now, please shout out to Emilio, our guy.
Emilio, hit us up, buddy.
I'm gonna go with Leaf It as well. I just think we're going to continue to see this until they're okay with their roster and they're set for the postseason. Like, I think guys are going to filter in and out, get opportunities. How many lives has Nick Robertson had, by the way? I feel like for 7 months I've been talking about Nick Robertson. Is he staying? Is he going? His last game as a Leaf. I think Zach has done multiple segments as well on Robertson being finito. I've written 7 articles on the LeafsNation.com. Here he is in the third line buzzing, scoring in
I
back-to-back
know.
games. So.
This guy seriously has 9 lives, and he's certainly like if his days are ever done in this organization, he cannot say it was for lack of opportunity.
Oh,
But
man.
maybe he needed this. Maybe he needed to find a third line. Like he could be a really damn good third liner, right? And maybe they just haven't realized that. And he needs to get a little bit of grind in him. He's got the work ethic and the speed. He needs to finish some checks and get a little FU in his game. And I think he could be a long-time third liner in this league. He's certainly got the skill. So he's found himself in a nice little slot. We'll see what this third line does. I mean, if they continue to play like this, it's outrageous, like how high the team's stock will go up with that much depth. We'll see if they can continue. Consistency has been a problem, especially for Nick Robertson. My question for you, though, why don't I play this for a second?
Do it. Do it.
If you break up that top line, what do you do with it? What's your
So I take
play?
Mitch Marner. I trade him to the New York Rangers. I get back Mika Zibanejad, and I don't know. I think you continue to ride Matthews and Marner together. I think I like the look of that. Like I would go Nyes, Matthews, Marner, and I like the look of that Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander.
Yeah,
But again, I think the best thing about this is you don't have to it's not a trial and error thing down the road in the playoffs if you want to go all nuclear, because you're probably, let's be honest, the only way this line is sticking in the playoffs is if you're down 2-0 in a series and you need offense and it's like the last shot.
And
right?
that's why I like them playing together. Let's give them some reps. It's freaking December. They're top of the standings. Like everything's good. Give them some reps. See what they look like. And it doesn't mean that it was a failure. They're never going to do that again if they mix it up again and go back to some other combination of lines. But it's nice just to give them some reps in that zone, because think about the games that we've watched in the playoffs where we're like, God, like, why can't we score for a period and a half, man? Like we're down 2-1. Like, let's go. Or like get the lead for the first time in the whole series here. Someone fucking score. And it doesn't happen. All right, I'm going to buzz the last 10 minutes of this second period with this line here. And Chief throws those guys together and see what they can cook. I love the idea of that. But I also love the idea of switching Willie and Nyes guy. That looks pretty sick with that third line doing what they've been doing lately.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thanks.
Just got seeing a picture from Matt Murray at the morning skate. Also saw a post about David Alter saying, told by the club that Austin Matthews and Joseph Woll will not be taking part, but will dress. Okay. So they're not skating, but they will dress for this game.
So they're not skating in the pregame skate.
Yeah, but they will dress. They're not there, though. Austin Matthews is not there at the morning skate.
Okay, that's okay. He's the only. Is it not an optional, or it's just him?
I think they're all optional. Maybe he just needs a morning to himself. Who knows?
Weird. On an optional skate, if he's not there, that means nothing to me. If he's the only guy not there, that means something to me.
Buddy,
but they're going to play.
Buddy, get those Amazon cameras going. That's all I got to say.
Seriously.
Start to cook. Get those Amazon cameras going. Buy the rights to the entire thing. I want cameras on all of this taking place this season.
Imagine that you had mics and cameras just in the locker room and on the plane, and you could just hear everything. They had no privacy. People would be glued to that stuff.
I know. And we'd hear more of your voice on like Amazon specials. Like that was the highlight of last year. You and Zach Phillips on the Amazon special. Was it this year? I guess. Yeah.
3 months ago. I know, that was funny. Our show got on the Amazon show, episode 1 about Willie. I couldn't believe how many people said I recognized your voice. Like I didn't know I had that recognizable of a voice, but apparently people who know me recognize it.
You have a recognizable face. I don't know about voice. Like when I see your face, I think about those cops and I think about those horses. I think about manure.
Do I have a horse face?
No. Hey, this is from producer Vic. I guess Pontus Holmberg is in today.
Hello, Pontus. Welcome back. Hello, Pontus. Is he playing for who? No, he's not.
I guess the Leafs. Now, these are the lines from the morning skate. Nylander, then Connor Dewar is a placeholder. Let's make sure we say that with Marner. So it's going to be the big boys together. Then Nyes, Tavares, Pacioretty, McMahon, Domi, Robertson, Holmberg, Camp, Lorentz. So the extras, Ryan Reaves.
Revo out. Well, got to do stuff, Revo. He got put on his goddamn ass forechecking the other day. Remember that?
Yeah.
He needs to bump up the physical factor. I don't know if he's
We talked about this the other day. Like Ryan Reaves hasn't even got close to a fight this year, which is the
Uh-uh.
bigger story for me. Like I told you, I was at the Caps game. I was right there in the corner. It looked like Wilson's like, "Do you want this? You want to go? Want to go?" And he looked away. Okay, he's looked away a couple times. We got to get to the bottom of this somehow because this guy's like the sheriff in town hasn't scrapped this year.
The self belt holder guy, the belt
Dude,
champ.
he's a good fighter. I think it's important to know too, and maybe you can speak to this. Like he's knocking at the door of 40. I mean, imagine how your body feels after scrapping around this age.
Oh, I know. I remember at 33 scrapping a kid that was chucking them, and my adrenaline didn't spike, and I just didn't have that raw, like unleash. And I was like, where was that? And I was like, am I slowing down? It's not a good feeling. And yeah, to do that. But honestly, in that league, man, oh my God, there's like 4 guys that could even give you a taste of lunch, and everyone else you could just annihilate. It's why aren't you running around just why aren't you running around hitting everything, chirping their bench, grabbing every guy by the scruff of the neck, saying, if I get a chance, I'm going to fucking kill you? You think nurse hit was bad? Wait till you see what I do to you. You're going to need a stretcher, and just scare all these little bitches in the NHL these days. Do that, Revo. What are you doing out there? What does he bring? That's why he's out of the lineup right now. But why has he been in so much? Like, do that, Revo. You would be a guy who earns your money every night if you go out and play like that, and he knows how to. I just don't get why he's not.
Has this show made him soft? Like since Ryan Reeves guested on Leafs Morning Take, he hasn't been in a regular season scrap. He did scrap in the preseason.
Everything comes back to us in our own heads for sure. That's the
Dinner
reason.
Bells writes in Pontus driving to the arena in his Pontiac. Imagine that.
Pontiac for Pontus. I
Okay,
bet he's got a little shinier whip than that, but he's
probably.
Swedish, right?
Yes, he is.
Nice Swede. Never played with a bad Swede. Not a one.
I
Not
play
a
with a
one.
Finn in beer leagues. He's an absolute stud, but he hates Swedes. Like it's
Awesome.
hilarious how
Weird
much
how
they hate
different they
Swedes.
are.
Yeah, they are very different. It's time for the last call brought to you by Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION, NATION, all in uppercase today. I'm going to ride with our guy, Zach Phillips. Give me a William Nylander ATG, anytime goal. To garner some revenge for his brother Alex. That's my narrative, okay? Because former Sabres draft pick way back in the day.
He will be playing for his brother's honor tonight.
take Holmberg. Take a Holmberg ATG.
Take Pontus, 1 shot on net. No, I'm going Mitch Marner, 2+ assists. So 2 appetizers for Mitch, playing with those maniacs. A little 2 appetizer evening gets you plus 330. I'm a big juice man, so that's got juice on her.
Wow, look at it. We've come a long way. You're taking Mitch Marner for a point prop on Leafs Morning Take.
I never said he wasn't able to get appetizers.
Fair enough. Zach writes in Pontus plus 700.
That's not good value.
So if you put $10 down, Rosie, you don't have to do the show ever again.
Plus 700.
I want to see you do the math in your head.
$70, I think, right? Yeah, if you win, you bet 100, you get 700. That's what plus 700 is, bud.
Yeah,
Not
that's why I was waiting for it. There you go.
Not taking that value. I got Mitchie Marner, 2 appetizers, 2 apples, 2 assists tonight.
Okay. I'm gonna ride with Zach and Nylander and give me my boy Max Pacioretty. I think he's due for another goal here, so we'll go with Patches. That place is gonna be buzzing. That's gonna do it for today's pod, Rosie. We got one more, and then we're gonna take a 3-day holiday break ourselves. We're gonna be gone from the 24th to the 26th. I think you're gonna be gone all of next week. Or you're gonna be there Monday, but you're not there Friday. So you got a little break coming here, bud.
I'm not gonna be there on Friday.
According to my schedule, you're not. It's the 27th.
Why? Oh yeah, you're right. What day was yesterday? Thursday. That's why. Yeah, you're totally right, brother. So we're doing a Monday show on the 23rd, and then are we not doing a little Christmas event, or is that a secret?
Well, yeah, I guess we were going to tell you guys and just drop it. We talked about this yesterday. We're doing a Christmas roundtable, first time ever. It's me, Rosie, Carter Hutton, and Zach Phillips, just talking about horse manure.
Yeah, talking about horse shit.
Yeah.
Road apples.
We're probably just going to tell tales of like Christmas with our families, talk about that a bit, and then just give our general thoughts on the Maple Leafs at the Christmas break. That's about it.
I'm going to crack an eggnog and rum for that show to commemorate it.
Appointment viewing. So that's coming up. We're going to drop that on Christmas Day. We're recording next week. We talked about it a bit earlier on. We're expecting to tape something with Easton Cowan today. So we're going to play that interview on Monday's show. Let's not forget the recap Monday of the weekend. And also we're going to preview that next gen game. I'm actually going to that game. I don't know why I signed up for that game. It's at 2 Eastern time on Monday. So I got to fly right after our show on Monday, head down to Scotiabank Arena. It's a next gen game. But I think it's because the matchup intrigued me. It's the Leafs and the Jets on Monday afternoon.
I think once you're there, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for you to get around the big city and
It
you don't like
is.
to leave your apartment, but
You think I can get like a horse? Can I get a horse, come to my condo, pick me up?
You know where the flanks on a horse are? Just kind of right in that back little area. You give that a slap, that cop is going for a ride.
Hey, man, don't give me ideas. Don't give me ideas. Again, that's Jay Rosehill. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are great all week. Again, the Leafs Nation After Dark coming up tonight with Zach Phillips. Recap of this game also tomorrow, the one at home against the New York Islanders. I'm headed to that game, by the way, tomorrow, the Islanders and Leafs. And I worry the fact that the Leafs have been dummied by the Islanders in recent memory. I won't lie.
I know, I hear you. And yeah, we'll see if their home record saves them or
Pierre Engvall, anytime goal, Rosie, tomorrow.
Get out of here with Pierre Engie.
I got a 7-year deal, $3 million per season, man. Only Lou Lamoriello would do that.
Dude, that is wild. And it's already blowing up in their face on year 2, man. I cannot believe he signed a 7-year deal. Like, what? How do you rob the bank that bad? Whose ear does he got, man? That's wild, but good for him.
Imagine like that conversation where they're like, hey, we want to give you a 7-year deal, $21 million. Okay, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Don't even need to discuss anything else because he was probably going to get like $1 million, but he got a 7-year deal.
Like, how much less would he have taken is the crazy thing.
I know.
Fuck me. Why didn't that happen to me?
I know. Imagine somebody put that across the wire to you. Hey, Rosie, we'll give you a 7-year deal for like $2 million per season. You jump on that. The Brandon Tanev special, man.
Hell yeah, brother. I remember doing Philly deal. We started off with a 2-way contract, American League NHL for a year, and then it ended up with a 2-year 1-way NHL deal, and I was pretty happy about that, but that's just Holmgren going, oh, Rosie, you remind me of myself, and I just think you're a flyer. And I was like, I'll sign that one there, Mr. Holmgren, sir. He was a good dude.
You were a prototypical flyer, and I know a lot of people have mentioned the picture in my background. We're going to make some upgrades over the holiday season. There's going to be a couple different casting characters that make an appearance in my background. So that's coming up at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Monday. Take care. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.